Hi, I'm Simon Fielden from Rahana Life, and we specialise in providing assistive technology for those people with an upper limb impairment, primarily muscle weakness. Today I'm going to demonstrate our range of products which include robotic feeding devices, arm supports and robotic arms. I hope you find it useful and interesting. So now I'm going to show you the two dining companion devices that we're able to supply. Now, I hope you agree with me that eating is one of life's great pleasures, and we feel that everyone deserves access to an independent and empowering dining experience. So we offer two products that enable people who have difficulty holding cutlery or bringing food to their mouths the opportunity to eat independently. Now, with these devices, the user needs to be able to take the food off the spoon, chew and swallow safely. And if there are any doubts about those aspects, then a speech and language therapist should be consulted. And finally, the user needs to be able to press at least one switch, and that could be any type of switch. So the first product I'm going to show you is called the Obi, and this is the Obi on the table here. So the Obi uses a 4-bowl system for placing the food for the user, and that can range from soup to solid food that's cut up into cubes roughly the size of a raspberry. So the first thing we have to do with this device is teach it where the user's mouth is. So I do that by pressing the teach button here, and then I cover over the teach logo on the arm, and I'll bring this to my mouth. So say there. And then we press the teach button again, and that's it. The device is now ready to use. So I'm using two switches, you can see here. One switch cycles round the bowls in sequence, and the other switch then selects the food from the bowl for the user. So if I show you that. And it wipes the edge of the spoon on the bowl and then presents the food to the user. I'm not going to take a spoonful of the dry cereal, because if I do, you won't be able to hear me for the rest of the presentation. Let's take that back. So next, I'm going to show you a little video clip of Ava Grace, who's using her Obi. So Ava Grace is a bright 6-year-old who has arthrogryposis. This means that she's unable to flex her elbows, so she cannot bring cutlery or food to her mouth. This means that meal times are frustrating for her, as she has to rely on other family members to feed her. But not anymore. She now has her own Obi, and she learned to use this literally in about 10 seconds. And as you can see, she really enjoys using it. The next device I'm going to show you is called the Best Stick. And here we have the Best Stick, and I shall just use the same switch . Okay, so the Best Stick is similar in many ways to the Obi, but I'm sure you can see straight away it uses more of a standard plate system. So we can use a large plate or a small plate. And I'll show you the operation of the Best Stick so you can compare that with the Obi. So there are many different control strategies for use with the Best Stick, and the user can program those. So it's slightly more complicated than the Obi. Here we've got a single switch use, and you can see that the spoon is cycling across the plate, and then I'm going to press the switch and select the area that I want the spoon to move across and pick the food up. It brings that to me. I've already programmed this from a mouth position, so I take that off, and then when we press again, it comes back down, and it'll cycle the opposite way now on the plate, so we can select food from that side of the plate. That's just one of many strategies that the Best Stick can use. Okay, so let me just pause that. So those are the two feeding devices. So the OB is simpler to set up. The best stick has more options and is therefore more complicated. The spoon attachment on the best stick is a stronger attachment, which means that if somebody has a bite down reflex, then the stick can often be the better product. Both of these devices we can bring out to a potential user's home, so they can try the devices in their own home, and we can leave them with a person for a few days so they get to try them at their leisure. So I'm going to show you some of the dynamic arm supports that we supply. Dynamic arm supports are used by people with weak muscles to support and position their arms to undertake everyday tasks such as eating, drinking, computer use, painting, personal grooming, and even scratching an itch. Alongside these benefits, there are also associated physical benefits to using these devices, such as maintaining arm movement and maintaining residual muscle strength. And they can fit to wheelchairs, tables, desks, or a stand. So the first arm support I'm going to show you is the Adero, and this is a manual arm support, and I'll demonstrate some of the movements here. And this follows the natural movement of the user, allowing the arm to move easily in all directions. So the arm support remains under the control of the user at all times by using the residual movement in the user's arm. So the key components of this device are the brace section here, the main arm here, and then the links units here with, in this case, the table mount. So this is the key part of the design, and we have this button here which allows us to increase or decrease the spring force on this device. So I've set it to its weakest setting here, so if I pop my arm in, that's far too weak for me, my arm just drops to the table. Conversely, if we take it right up to the top, my arm's waving around in the air. So for me, the correct setting is somewhere in between, and that provides enough spring force for me to start to undertake some functional activities. We can adjust aspects like the position of the arm brace here so that we can encourage the arm movement this way or this way. There are a number of accessories that we can use with this device as well to suit the individual. I've got a couple to show you. Pop that back on there. So for example, we have a brace unit that we can use for children, so this is a much lighter spring in it. We also have a palm support here, so that if somebody has a tendency to drop their wrist, this can help to put their wrist in a more functional position. So now I'm going to show you the Elemento arm support, which is an electrically powered arm support. So this works in a very similar way to the Adero manual arm support, with the added benefit that the user is able to control how much spring force is generated through the device. So for example, this may be a perfectly adequate spring force for me for most of the day. However, later on into the early evening, I'm getting a bit tired and I find that I can't use the device to carry out all the functions I want. What I then do is I use the switch unit here, and I just increase, and I'll just let my arm go floppy, and you'll see that it's gradually rising up. So now I have an increased spring force, which means if I'm picking up a heavier object or I'm tired later on in the day, I've got the spring force to do that. But note how that it's not driving my arm up and down, it's just providing the extra spring force I might need for certain tasks or at certain times of the day. It has the same accessories that you find with the Adero. There are different brace sizes and brace configurations that we can use to suit the user. Okay, so next we have a short video of a young man called Ben who is using his brand new Elemento to take a drink. So Ben has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and finds many daily tasks using his arm tiring, if not impossible. So the Elemento, with the ability to increase and decrease the spring compensation force, allows Ben to take account of when he's tired or when he's lifting a heavier object. So you can see Ben using the device here. He's still getting used to it, but he's using it very successfully. To summarise on arm supports, matching the specific device to the client is crucial to get the best outcomes, and this is achieved by a thorough understanding of the client's needs through a detailed assessment. So Rahana are able to assess for the full range of arm supports and then advise on suitable options for the user. Please do get in touch if there is something you'd like more information on or would like to be assessed. So now I'm going to show you the Jayco robotic arm. The Jayco is used by people who have very limited or no arm and hand movement. The Jayco mounts to the side of a wheelchair and the user controls it using their wheelchair control joystick. However, for the purposes of today's demonstration, I've got the Jayco mounted on a tabletop and I'm using a demonstration joystick. So this is a very quick overview, and there are many advanced features of the Jayco which I won't be able to cover today in the time we have. I will show you the basic movements of the Jayco, taking a drink, and then finally using a device called a tool holder. So the Jayco has fingers, a wrist, arms and a shoulder. And the basic movements you can see here. And what I'm going to do now is pick this ball up to show you how we only focus on the wrist movements. Okay, so now I've picked the ball up. What we do is we only follow really the movement of the wrist position. So if I start moving the wrist, you'll understand what we don't do is focus on the rest of the arm. It's all about what's happening here. So you can see there, we're rotating that wrist this way. Now we're going to go this way, but the ball stays pretty much in one position. And we can also rotate the wrist as well. So those are the basic wrist movements. You've seen the finger movements and you've also seen the main arm movements. So let's just return that ball to the tabletop. And there we have it. So the next activity I'll show you is for the Jayco to pick up a drink with a straw and bring it to me so I can take a drink independently. And there we have it, and I'll now put that back on the tabletop. And the final task I will demonstrate to you is picking up a piece of apple using the tool holder with a fork inserted and bringing that to my mouth. I won't take a bite because you won't hear what else I'm saying. So I think you can see the tool holder there if I rotate that around. This can be used for holding utensils such as a fork or a hairbrush or a toothbrush, and then that could be placed in a position that Jayco can then pick up and carry out the task. Now Jayco is a low power device, and that means that it can pick up objects that weigh just under 1 kilogram and has an overall reach of just under 1 metre. Now we can program Jayco with a number of safety features, including a protection zone. So protection zone means that when you drive the Jayco towards you, it won't hit your face or your torso, and I can demonstrate that now. If I bring Jayco towards me, it will stop before it reaches me. Now, for people who want to try the Jayco, we think it's really important that they get to experience it as if it was a final installation. So for a trial, we will mount the Jayco on the user's wheelchair, and we will integrate the controls of Jayco with their wheelchair controls. We believe this gives them the closest experience to a final installation. We will do that in their own home. So now we have a short bit of video of James using the Jayco. James has a spinal cord injury and uses a chin control to drive his wheelchair. So we integrated the Jayco control so it works through the same joystick. So what you're seeing here is James shaking hands with his dad. This was a very important objective of James, as he hadn't shaken his dad's hand for 15 years since his accident, and he wanted to thank him for his support. You can actually see James's dad is rather reluctant to grip the Jayco, although in actual fact the Jayco grip, although it's functional, it won't cause any damage to somebody whose hand is within it. Now you can see James using the Jayco to shake hands with his dad.
Okay, now let's go. No.
So what sort of things can you use Jayco for? Well, you've seen a few tasks demonstrated in this video. Other things that users have been able to do, things such as open doors, press lift buttons, switch lights on and off, adjust thermostats, feed their dog treats, scratch and itch, adjust their glasses on their face. Really, the list is only determined by the user's imagination. So if anyone would like further information on the Jayco, they can contact us at all the usual places, through our website, through Facebook and through Twitter, or indeed through the comment section of today's webinar. Well, I hope you found this webinar useful and informative. If you want more information on the products Rahana Life offer, then please take a look at our website. We also have a Twitter feed and a Facebook page if you're interested. Now, if you want to discuss a specific assessment or trial of any of the equipment that you've seen today, then please do contact us through email or telephone, and we're only too pleased to help. Now, I'll be on hand to answer any questions using the Facebook Live comments section all afternoon, and I'd just like to thank you all for watching today, and a special thank you to Jack at Kids to Adults for hosting this event.